Good afternoon, everyone. It's an immense pleasure to welcome you all for the today's webinar session on the topic S4HANA Greenfield versus Brownfield implementation. So I am Mahesh and the host for today's webinar by Increasall. I will be assisting you in case you find any difficulties during the session. And also you can keep posting your queries in the chat, which will be discussed in last 15 minutes of our Q&A session. So as a speaker with today, we have Mr. Nalini Kumar, the Director and CTO of Increasall Software Private Limited. And in this today's session, we will be discussing about the S4HANA transition options and choosing the right transition option and the pre-projects to be planned before S4HANA. So now I hand over the mic to Mr. Nalini Kumar to take this session forward. Mr. Nalini, over to you.
Thank you, Mahesh. Hope I am audible to all of you. Mahesh, can you acknowledge me?
Yes, you are audible, Nalini. You can.
Okay. And I'm on my presentation screen and hope it is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. So as part of our Rise with SAP S4HANA transition sessions, we are on the 4th session today. And I would like to share in the today's session, I would like to give you an insights about transition options to S4HANA, whether it can be whether it is on-premise or Rise with SAP. In both the cases I'm covering in this today's presentation or the webinar. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop a message in the chat or in the Q&A session so that Mahesh will assist you further. And also, so the agenda for the today's webinar is like, I'll first spend a few minutes on deployment options of S4HANA available and transition options and decision making. How do you make a decision on which transition option is best fit to you or to your business scenario? So that pointers that you should consider while you are making a decision or finalizing your transition option. We'll discuss more on that. And also technical migration versus functional migration. So this it's like how exactly the difference between these two. And transition roadmap, how you can plan your roadmap to S4HANA journey or the digital transformation journey. And key challenges of S4HANA transition. So what are the typical challenges that you come across, or the blockers or the different challenges that are in the journey of S4HANA digital transformation. And at the end, it's like we'll follow by Q&A, and also we are having a small poll for you to give your inputs that would help us to understand your insights. So I'm quickly starting up with the deployment options. So as you might be already aware that the S4HANA is offering in two different flavors. One is as a service, that is a subscription-based model that is called Rise with SAP. And another one is as a product that is similar to your ECC license or your S4HANA on-premise license. But currently the S4HANA on-premise license is almost discontinued or going to be discontinued by SAP. They are asking all the customers to move to the Rise with SAP or the as a subscription, as a service, or the subscription model of S4HANA. Okay, but still in special cases you are getting, they're selling for on-premise licenses as well. Okay. So whereas coming to as a service, so there are two offerings are there from SAP. One is a public cloud, that is nothing but it's a multi-tenant infrastructure where you just get your account, you start using your S4HANA system through configurations from the web browser or the Fiori applications, and start using by your business users through a browser-based access to your ERP system or S4HANA system. Whereas the second option is the private cloud. Private cloud is like a single tenant, I can say. So in the private cloud also, it's like extended edition. It's again discontinued in recent times. Okay, extended edition is no more there. It's a single tenant of public cloud only. So the most running edition is a private edition. That's like a S4HANA Cloud Private Cloud Edition. We call it as a PCE edition. Okay, so this is in most of the use in recent days for the existing SAP customers, and for non-SAP customers, there are customers moving with public cloud or a private cloud. Both the options they are exploring. Okay, depends on their business scenario or the business customizations required. Okay, so typically there I can say that total 3 deployment options: public cloud, private cloud, and on-premise. Okay, so we'll see what options are compatible for which type of deployment in terms of transition. So the transition is it's like to start your journey from ECC to S4HANA. There are 3 paths available. Okay, or in fact 4 paths I can say. So one is a new implementation that's as good as like your Greenfield implementation, that's similar to the one you have done for your ECC implementation few years back or the long back. Okay, it's nothing but you start fresh and forget about what ERP you are using, or whether you are using SAP ECC or other ERPs. You can start with that journey and you can do a fresh ERP implementation, start fresh with the fresh thoughts of the fresh processes or the fresh best practices as on the current date. The second option available is a system conversion, that is called a brownfield. The first one is called a greenfield, and the second one is a brownfield. Brownfield is nothing but you are already an SAP customer. You are using SAP ECC with for years, now maybe for last 10 years, 5 years, or 15, 20 years. So where you want to carry your whole system, it's like to the new S4HANA as well with the data and all, then system conversion is the best option. The third one is the landscape transformation. This is the third option. Generally, typically comes with a lot of efforts involved in this one for this process. Typically applicable for the customers who are having multiple SAP ERP systems. For example, region-specific ERP systems. Suppose your company is a multinational company and you are having one SAP system for North American region or the Americas region, one for European, one for Asia Pacific region, and one for some other region. So like that, you might be having, or might be based on business line, you might be having separate ERP systems or multiple ERP systems, or introduced to your landscape over the period of acquisitions or the mergers. Okay. So based on the different scenarios, you might be having multiple SAP systems, and as part of this transformation journey or digital transformation journey of S4HANA, you want to consolidate all and to make it as a single S4HANA system or a single ERP system. Then landscape transformation would be a best choice. But this involves a lot of expertise and the involvement of SAP and SAP specialized tools, or the consulting from SAP and their specific tools. License also involved for this one. We'll speak more about it in the coming slides. But in a nutshell, there are three options: greenfield, brownfield, and the same landscape transformation can also be called as a bluefield as well. Okay. So let's start with the new implementation. So when to go for new implementation, who are the target audience can go for the new implementation? It can be SAP, existing SAP ERP customers like ECC customers or the B1 customers whoever are there, they can also opt for this greenfield implementation, or the customers who are using Tally or the Focus or some other third-party ERP who want to get into the SAP's ERP portfolio, then they can adopt for this greenfield implementation. So for example, if you are feeling that your SAP system is not in a shape and your business or over the period of last few years of journey of your SAP ECC, that is not in a good shape and not giving the good results, and it is having a lot of customizations and also a lot of junk got accumulated, and if you feel that that is not going to sustainable for the future of your company or the business, what of the business is focusing for the future years, in that case, the better option is leave the old system and old junk accumulated there itself and start fresh with a clean slate. So that is called a new implementation approach. So in case of new implementation approach, you just activate your SAP S4HANA system freshly without carrying anything from old system, and you just activate the SAP best practices and activate each business process and reevaluate if that business process is fitting to your need or not, and try to adopt your business process to the SAP standard. Suppose if you feel that you are not following the industry standard practices, best practices, or your system is highly customized and users are just inclined to the customizations, and you want to get rid of it and set a standardization process as whatever your industry is getting followed as a best practice, then the it's a different approach. So if you are in that situation, like you want to standardize your process and want to change the people mindset in your organization and want to adopt the best practices only, then greenfield is the best choice. So there are some pros and cons in terms of commercials or the project point of view for IT department. This would be a more insightful slide. Okay. The pros are like you start fresh. The advantages are like you are starting fresh, so you don't carry any baggage, old baggage, and you start fresh and start take best out of the new things than carrying any old things. Okay. So that means you can re-engineer all your business process, operational processes to adopt the standard options, and best practices can be activated, and you can simplify your processes. Probably your current process might be complicated because of the lot of things got added over the period of time, might be technically or might be operational point of view also. So that can be simplified. You can take this as an opportunity. You can make it very simplified process by referring the standard practices that are globally getting followed, and you can educate your team and also make them adapted to the simplified processes than making a complicated processes. And also, all environmental system will be reassessed. Like you are using multiple legacy systems for different purposes. Probably you might be using some sort of a system for CRM, or some system for the procurement management, some system for some other purposes. So you can check that whether all those can be accommodated in the new system of S4HANA. So here you will get the chance to see if any of these systems can be decommissioned and move that functionality to S4HANA, and so that you can eliminate one system, extra system in your landscape, and move to the one single ERP system. That process as well, so that you can get a chance to get enable new innovations and disable the old or legacy systems. Okay, and also considering the transformation is getting started as a fresh system, so you will get almost everything as a standardized process, and you follow the modern technology approaches than the old or the legacy approaches that are followed from the ages. Also from day one, considering it's like a UI first or the user experience first philosophy is adopted in S4HANA. So considering that for the new Greenfield implementations, you can day one onwards, you will focus on enabling Fiori UI or the web-based user access and the user experience based on the mobile apps or the web-based clients, so that from day one you can start, you can give the big change to the users in terms of their experience from the classical GUI they are using so far. The disadvantages, I can't say it's the disadvantages, but it may be applicable to you or may not be, but you just some of the pointers might be applicable to you, so you can think about them. So reinvestment on stable business process to implement. For example, you are already using a SAP standard process and your system is already working well with a little bit of customizations towards that, and you are not seeing any difficulty or the problems with your existing ECC system, then why to reinvest to rebuild all those things again? Might be Z programs, or might be your standard configurations, or the plant onboarding, or the master data onboarding. All that stuff can be a reinvestment, right? All can be eliminated in other options. Whereas here in the Greenfield, you need to do that all exercise again, even though you are, it's like more or like copy paste activity, or might be like you just refer the whole system and then redo the things. That's again an effort taking process. So that can be eliminated. That is one of the disadvantage of the Greenfield. If your system is already existing system is working good and as per the practices or the best practices available. And also, you know that your process is not fit in the standardized SAP processes or any industry best practices given by SAP because of various reasons, and you feel that it's not possible to change, then again, you need to re-implement all those customizations. Okay. And all masters and balances should be loaded freshly because you are starting fresh system. So it's like you download the data from the old system, like your masters, massage them or clean them, and create your material balances or the open item balances or the vendor balances or GL balances. All those you need to download from the old system and prepare it well and load it to the new system freshly. And by any chance we are going go live in the middle of the year, that means you need to refer both the systems again. That means the new system carries the data from the middle of the year and the old system carries the data till the old year. It's like till that time. Transaction wise, the transaction wise history will be there in the old system. So in case of Greenfield, it is advisable to go at the beginning of an financial year. So redevelopment of all required customizations, because you might have been done a lot of MIS reports developed over the period of time as per your business requirements, or you might have been developed a lot of module pool programs or the screen programming to handle some of your custom requirements which are not there in your in SAP standard, even in S4HANA, for example. So all those things again you need to re-implement or copy paste those programs. Adjust them. A lot of work need to be done manually. So that's another disadvantage. Rebuild all the integrations is another important thing, because your system is integrated with many outside systems, probably your governmental systems, or probably your like shop floor systems, or maybe mobile apps or some other legacy systems on the cloud. So all those integrations, it's a greenfield, means nothing will be carried. Then you need to reassess and implement the integrations by coordinating with all those third-party integration partners or the vendors or the application owners. Longer testing cycle, considering it's a greenfield, so you need to spend quality time or you need to spend quality efforts on the testing cycles to ensure that the system is stable and perfect for the business release. also considering the big change in the system or the technology and everything, so that involves a longer adoption time, and trainings also, you need to spend a lot of time on training to the users, because the users are always resistant to a big change. So they may feel that the new change is taking more time, even though it's a simplified. Okay. So to make them, it's like we need to conduct a lot of motivational sessions and the training sessions to adopt them to the new system and get best out of it, instead of making it fail. Takes time to stabilize. You know that any ERP implementation life cycle requires the time to stabilize. Considering you are already saw the SAP journey, you might be aware of this point, because any new implementation will take around 6 months to 1 year as a stabilization time, because some are here and there process hiccups used to come, and all those you need to stabilize over the period of time, as and when the particular problem arises with the help of your implementation or the support partner. Historical data analytics not possible. This is another big disadvantage. For example, you want to do trend analysis or the analysis based on the old results, then that is not possible, because you are starting just with the balances and masters. So you don't have historical data. Then there is a chance, if at all this is one of your key agenda in your business, there is a lot of dependence, and then definitely this is going to hamper you, because you're not carrying any transactional data. And also important thing is maintain old servers also, because you are keeping the old data there and starting fresh in the new system. But as per statutory, you need to maintain the old systems, and as and when query comes, you need to open and show the reports or provide the data to the concerned departments or the teams, right? So you need to maintain that servers for next 7 years at least. Okay. So old servers uptime, old servers working condition assurance is another maintenance activity. At the same time, infra maintenance and the infra also you need to from the vendor or from your in-house team. So you need to ensure that the system is accessible at any given time in the next 7 years without any issues. Higher project cost and timelines. Considering the Greenfield has its own implementation cycle, and it involves its own blueprinting sessions or the business mapping sessions and all required. So definitely it will involve a lengthier timeline, and it's like more team involvement will be there, and also obviously the cost also will increase because of that. Now I'm going to the brownfield option, that is called system conversion in technical terms, or in another way we also call it as a lift and shift. That means you are just changing your old home to a new home, brand new home, by carrying your old furniture and kitchen utensils and some other utensils, some other equipment. That is nothing but you are carrying your ERP system with all the required stuff to the new ERP also. That is called a lift and shift model, or a system conversion, or a brownfield. Okay, this is typically for the customers who are using SAP already, and they are an ECC compatible version for S4HANA, and they want to move to S4HANA or take a transformation to digital transformation to S4HANA. For them, it is applicable. So here the process is like, it's not a re-implementation. Whatever is there, it is going to be moved to the new system, and it will be adjusted or made available for the new system. And no disruption for existing business process. Whatever is running in ECC, that is going to work in S4HANA also, with a compatibility mode or with the slight adjustments to those processes. And also customizing also will work as it is. Only thing is you need to little bit of adjustments, and you can see that so any new changes happen as part of S4HANA, you need to adopt them. And also as part of this system conversion, what will happen is you can quickly get into the S4HANA world, and later you can plan your innovation projects or the transformation projects over the period of next 1 year or 2 years. Like first step is move to S4HANA, then start your innovations or new adaptations. Okay, so that's the way. If you are thinking for, then the system conversion is the best option. For the system conversion, there are some prerequisites I would like to highlight here that also help you to take some good decisions in terms of whether the system conversion is the best fit for you or not. One of the important prerequisite is like you should be on ECC 6 or above. Okay, EHP 0 is also fine, but ECC 6 is the minimum version of ECC you should have. If you are on ECC 5 and which is anyhow is out of support, then I think you cannot move to the S4HANA. Better to go with the Greenfield implementation. But if you are on ECC 6 with EHP 0, that's okay. But the system should be a Unicode system. Okay, so the Unicode systems are nothing but it's like non-Unicode systems. Very old systems are non-Unicode, but if your system is still non-Unicode, then first you need to run a project of Unicode conversion as a project before or the prior to the S4HANA migration project. Okay, so and also the system should be a single stack system, like it should be a ABAP only stack system. For example, you might be using your ESS MSS, or you might be using some other NetWeaver solution related to Java-based solutions, and you are deployed using ABAP plus Java stack on your SAP ECC or the ERP system, then that won't be compatible for the S4 conversion. So considering that, first you need to run a project to split your dual stack system to a single stack system, like SAP ECC ABAP stack and SAP ECC Java stack to be separated, NetWeaver Java stack to be separated. Then only you can start going for the migration. There's also another important thing you should note. And there are some requirements related to the minimum DB versions. Okay, so each DB wise, there are SAP notes are available. You can refer them. Some of the notes are already given here. So you can take up those notes and you can verify if at all any dependency on them. And also there are industry solutions. You might be using some of the industry solutions or the IS solutions which are not released yet for S4 HANA. Then first those industry add-ons to be uninstalled, or they will be automatically discarded as part of S4 migration. So you need to plan well before planning your S4 HANA migration, because those functionality won't be available in S4 HANA. So then you need to think that what are the alternatives available, or what are the alternative cloud solutions available from SAP to start using them. Okay, so that's the industry solutions or add-ons. Okay, and also you might be using any third-party add-ons. They also, you need to check with them also if they are compatible with your S4HANA versions that you are targeting or not. If the third-party add-ons are not compatible, or the vendor is no more within the market, or they discontinued the product, in those cases you need to find the ways to make that compatible for the S4HANA, what are the version that you are targeting. So that assessment should be performed well before. And also customer vendor integration in place, that is nothing but your, it is called CVI mapping. That is nothing but your business partner conversion. In ECC, you have a customer separate and vendor separate, whereas in S4 HANA, there is the concept called business partner. So everything will be treated as a single business partner and linked with the customer or vendor profiles. So considering that there are a lot of integration challenges might be there, or the duplication possibilities are there, that should be, that data to be evaluated first. You should clean the data before planning for migration. Customer vendor data or the employee data to also required to be corrected if at all required. There are programs given by SAP or the notes given by SAP. You need to run them and see what are the discrepancies are there as part of the customer vendor integration process. If at all any discrepancies, you need to plan the required mitigations or the corrections. Okay, so also there are a few other things. I will explain anyhow those things in the next slides. So this point we already discussed. Any partner add-ons, you need to check with them the compatibility, and also you need to plan the any functionality is not available in S4 HANA. What are the alternatives available as part of the conversion? You need to initially analyze it before going for S4 HANA itself and plan the required alternatives. And custom code adaptation is the one big activity as part of S4 HANA migration or the conversion process, because your G code, most of the G code will be 50 to 60% of the 70% of the code will be compatible for S4 HANA also. But considering HANA database has a different mechanism, it's not like a regular RDBMS databases like Oracle or MS SQL or other databases. So considering that, there are some differences in that. So you need to adopt your ABAP code to work for HANA database first. And also there are some functionalities that tables got changed in S4 HANA. So you need to adjust your code to work with the new table structures or the table schemas as part of S4 HANA. So that is we called ABAP code, or the HANAization of ABAP code, or the custom code in your SAP system, existing SAP system. So you need to understand what all the ABAP code you want to carry, not to carry, and little bit of research. You need to at least 3 months or 6 months before the S4 project itself, you start evaluating your ABAP code and identify the dead code or the junk code and start demarking them or marking them for the deletions, so that during the project, your efforts won't go waste, or the partners' efforts won't go waste on the obsolete code corrections. Also, you need to check that you might be using other SAP systems also in the landscape, probably your SAP PIPO or the SAP Business Objects or the BW or CRM, or there are various systems, right, from the SAP. So if you are using any of them, you need to understand what is the compatibility of those systems for the target version of S4HANA that we are targeting. Considering it's a conversion project, so you need to check the compatibility, also important thing. If the compatibility is okay, that's good. Otherwise, you need to plan an upgrade project for those systems as well. Okay, so as we discussed, we might be required to execute pre-projects of Unicode conversion. Generally, most of the 90% of the customers are not in this genre. And also dual stack split. Some of the customers who are using ESS, MSS might fall under this dual stack split criteria. And archival of data. Suppose you might be using your SAP system for years, probably for last 15, 20 years. It's a very old SAP system, and it's a huge data is there, maybe few terabytes, 10 terabytes of data is there. And if you feel that there's no point in carrying whole data for S4HANA because it's a resource intensive, right? S4HANA is a heavy resource intensive and in-memory database, even though it has a data aging and all the concepts are available, but still. So better to archive the data before going for that, because there is no point in carrying the whole data which is not relevant or required for the business. So you can plan a archival project before your S4 project so that your data footprint will be reduced, and with the limited data you can carry to the S4HANA using system conversion or the brownfield approach. So coming to the pros and cons, okay. So I recommend a system conversion for ECC customers who are feeling that the system is 80 to 90% okay and 10 to 20% is the gap in terms of their current ECC, in terms of their operations and the standard adaptations. Then good to go with the system conversion, okay. You can understand the reasons here. It's like the conversion is more of a technical conversion, I can say. Along with the functional also, you can plan along with this, but most of the system conversions in the brownfield cases are the technical conversions. So it will be a shorter time taking, 3 to 6 months. In a good case, 3 months, or it may go up to 6 months. If it is a complicated environment which has so many things involved, then it may go up to 1 year also. It depends on the complexity of your landscape. Okay, but in typical cases, we saw that in typical Indian cases, we saw that 3 to 6 months is the typical timeline of S4 conversion. And another good advantage over this is the faster stabilization, because most of the S4HANA code is the code ported from ECC. That means not every line of ECC code is rewritten in S4HANA. We can say that 60 to 70% or up to 80% of the ECC code is carried forward to S4HANA, and they adjusted the few things. Okay, or they released new functionality in S4HANA along with this code porting the old code. Okay, so considering that the stabilization is not a concern here, most of the systems will be stabilized in a week or 2 weeks time, or a maximum 1 month time post to conversion of the S4HANA. No need of reinvesting on setting up the stable process, because your system is already working in a stable manner in a specific process, and the process don't have much of the changes in the S4HANA. Then no reinvestment. It's more like just carrying that process and shifting and lifting to the new system, right? Lifting and shifting to the new system, so it will work as it is. All write-set value will also be converted. That means your G code investments also will go low. Just you need to adopt them. I said that 10 to 15% or 20% changes may be there in your G programs. Even some cases it's 1 or 2% also. Okay, it depends on the code you have written or your developers have written. All integration, there are many tools given for the code adaptation by SAP itself. They, in a click away also, you can do the corrections to your code. Okay, all integrations will be adapted in shorter time, because the integrations are not going to be hampered much. Only thing is like the slightly field length changes or the data structure changes to be adopted as part of integration. But other than that, the extraction logic or the update logics to be updated, little bit changes are required. But other than that, the integrations will be intact. But in case of RISE with SAP, you need to carefully look at it, because all integrations, whatever you are having, you need to evaluate with SAP account manager in terms of whether they allow those integrations or not, or whether they push for your CPA usage or the direct access license usages of SAP. So if they come into the picture, again, you need to go for an additional investment in terms of the licenses or the implementations. That's a separate or extra point. Old ECC can be discarded because your whole data will be converted to the new system. That means you are not losing even a single line of data. Considering that, your ECC can be discarded. And no need of any separate master transaction data. That means data load is not required, because your masters and all will be carried forwarded automatically. Just if at all you can make a slight changes in that. And UI adaptation, you can plan in the single go, or you can plan as a phase 2 also. That means enabling Fiori and all, you can plan it as a phase 2, or you can do it in the phase 1 also, by identifying at least 20, 30 or 40 Fiori apps, like for your sales order creation or for your purchase order approvals or the PO creation or some sort of a processes, or for some analytical reports and all. You can enable and start off with them, and later you can plan a detailed project for Fiori to innovate better in terms of user experience. And data footprint, you can, by data archival, you can reduce the data footprint and start with minimal or the required data to the new system. Historical data analytics are possible. It's an advantage, so that you want to apply any ML or artificial intelligence related patterns on your data and predict something, then you can, this historical data is going to be helpful. Also, if you have any analytical tools like Power BI, Tableau, or any integrations are already there, they will work intact, because you are pushing all the data. and all your reports will work as earlier as like that only. With little bit adjustments might be required if any data structure changes are there. Relatively low in budget compared to Greenfield. This one is a low in budget because the efforts are not so high like a Greenfield. Because in Greenfield, you will touch every process, you will evaluate every process, you will try to it's like discover the options available in SAP versus your business process mapping, everything, blueprinting and mapping, all this will take place. So that's the heavy intensive or the functional effort involved there. Whereas in case of system conversion or the brownfield, the efforts are not that high, because the functional will touch the system wherever required or wherever the S4HANA has some changes introduced. They are called simplification items. Okay, wherever the simplification items are there, what are the processes are getting changed, those only they will verify and adjust. Remaining process more or less like 80 to 90 to 95% work as it is without any issues. Anyhow, if there are any issues during the testing phase, you can identify them and fix them or make them stable. The disadvantages, it's like if you are having some complex scenarios or you made the system complex in some way, they will be carried automatically and old burdens also will be taken over if you don't look at them properly and it's like reinvent them or correct them. Okay, so it's like till the business process or a functional migration or UI migration is not planned. Suppose you are planning it as only technical migration, then this point will be applicable. Otherwise, if you plan technical plus some innovations or the functional migration, then it's not an issue. Okay, so if at all you plan only technically convert the system to S4HANA but not enable the Fiori or not enable some new modules of S4HANA or not enable something, in those cases, okay, so users won't see a difference in the system. They feel that, oh, it's a new system introduced, but it's looking like an old system. Okay, they don't see a big change until unless you introduce these new processes and all. But they can see the improved performance. And also another thing is like you will not be adopted to the best practices because you carried your old process as it is or old system as it is. So the best practice adaptation may not be there in the converted system. And also there will be a chance that if your current data is having some inconsistencies, mainly your asset management data or financial data might be having some gaps in the information, okay, or some bad practices might have been happened over the period of time, and that corrupted data or that has some gaps in the data, in those cases the conversion process will fail, and that is going to create a lot of trouble. So for that purpose, we need to do a data cleanup job before the migration or middle of the migration. A lot of cases will arise. So considering that if your data is not up to the mark, and then the system conversion is going to be a big challenge, I can say. If your data quality is good and everything is okay, but you can perform one trial run, like a sandbox run, you can understand what type of quality you're having. Or there are programs given by SAP to verify the consistency of your data. So through that also you can understand. So if your data is up to the mark, then it's okay. Otherwise, definitely it is going to hamper the project timelines and also the possibility of failures. Okay, the potential of SAP S4HANA is not fully exploited in this case because you are trying to start with the old and innovate the new things, right? So it's a gradual process than a day one process. So the another important thing, this is the important thing to be considered, the conversion to be happened at one step. Okay, so what will happen is either you come across with a one single downtime or a multiple downtimes, depends on the project scenario. And also the linear downtimes, at least 24 hours of downtime you may be required for your business. Even near zero downtime process is available. Still, even though there are chances that you may need to plan at least 12 to 24 hours of downtime is required as part of this conversion process. This is also another decision-making point, whether your business is having that appetite to take that much of downtime or not. In case of Greenfield, it's just a switching systems, right? So you just say that, okay, till this night, 12 o'clock, the system will be there, and you can shut down that system and start downloading the balances. And in 5 to 6 hours, you can make the other system up, or maybe in 2 to 3 hours also, you can make the other system up. It depends on the volume of data loads. Maybe master and all can be loaded at the beginning itself, before that itself, as part of cutover, and only the balances can be loaded as part of that production downtime. The other one is the landscape transformation, but most of our Indian scenarios, it's not required. But this can be, as I said, that this is a consolidation of multiple ERP systems into a single ERP systems, and you cannot use your DMO tool straightforward for this purpose, or the simple migration approaches won't work here. You need to take the license of transformation to landscape transformation tools available from SAP, and also you need to take the consulting services of SAP to perform this job. Few areas, or the partner tools you need to engage, or the partners who are having high experience in this area, you need to engage them definitely it's going to be a high expensive project, and also time taking project. Generally, these type of projects will take 2 to 3 years to complete, but it's a gradual manner. Suppose you can fade out one SAP system and move to S4 HANA, and then second, third, or in a way you can call it as a rollout based approach you can follow. Or if you want to go with the big bang approach, then definitely it's going to take a longer time and may not be advisable approach. So there is a fourth option. Okay, so we are seeing this also predominantly getting used nowadays. Okay, even we applied this option to some of our customers as part of their S4 migrations, or as part of the migrations we have done. The hybrid approach is nothing but it's a mix of greenfield and brownfield. Okay, why I'm calling it as a mix of greenfield and brownfield? So it's like you don't carry the data similar to in greenfield, but you carry your programs, your configurations, and your customizations. That means you will take the zero data system and you will convert that into the S4HANA system. That means your golden master client, I can say in short. Like golden master will have all your programs, all your configurations of SPRO, and all your customizations, whatever they will be available. We'll take that particular productive golden master client without data and just will convert that into the S4HANA system using system conversion of the brownfield approach. Then load the data, master data, and the opening balances. So you will get all existing functionality as is. And the second thing is custom code will also be migrated. Third thing is like integrations also be carried out because your integrations also come intact. And the advantage what you get in this one is like the lightweight system, no data. So you're starting with a zero data footprint. So the initial infrastructure cost will be less. Maybe with the 256 GB RAM size of system or the 196 RAM system might be sufficient enough there. And you can also get a leverage that you can adjust the business processes required. You can plan functional improvements also. And also, if you feel that your financial org structure, like your chart of accounts are not good, or your financial org structure is not good, and you want to bring a big change in your financial org structure, and remaining modules are okay, but maybe financial org structure is not good, or your sales org structure is not good, the distribution channel division or the whatever structure you have defined, you want to revamp that. In those cases, this option is going to be a very helpful option. But here you don't get any historical data. You will get only the programs and configurations will be carried. Only the required areas you are going to change, because the financial architecture cannot be changed if there is a data, right? So those things can be taken as an advantage because you are not taking with the data. So you can adjust the system like a greenfield system, as good as like a greenfield system, and start using it. The reinvestment on the stable process re-engineering can be eliminated here, in short. And custom code also will come out automatically. So explore the new innovations and activate. Like you have the freedom to explore whatever the options, best options available, and start activating. It's like a greenfield. All greenfield advantage you are going to get it here. But best practice adaptation may not be there, but you can evaluate process by process best practice adaptations, and you can see wherever required you can adapt to the best practice activations. And you can load the master data and opening balances, and start with zero data footprint like greenfield with less investment on re-implementing the stable process. Like you are getting the budgetary advantage as well as the timeline advantages by carrying the few old things like the core setup, and you move further. So coming to Rise with SAP. So what are the different options available? Okay, so how you can go to the S4HANA cloud with the private cloud or the public cloud. So if it is a non-SAP system, you can go with the only option is greenfield. In case of any premise system like your ECC on your own hyperscaler or with your own data center or wherever it is, either you can go with the greenfield or the brownfield approach. Or if you're already on S4HANA, you need to upgrade to the latest S4HANA edition and go to the Rise with SAP cloud. If you are below 1809 or 1909, okay. So in case of lift and shift, if you don't want to go for the S4 transition at this point of time, even though you can shift the ECC system to your Rise with SAP cloud, that is called ECC cloud. So there you can shift your system and take your time and transit to the S4HANA cloud. There are different options available. Coming to the transition options compared to the public cloud is, I said that it's a service from SAP. It's a multi-tenant service. Like the same infra is getting used by 100 or 10 more customers, or maybe 2 more customers. Okay, it's not only by you. So you can't get a chance to modify that system. You just use as it is with little bit configurations and small changes, or you can do the extensions in the BTP framework outside S4HANA system, not in the core. So you can't touch the core. So considering that public cloud, you cannot migrate your ECC to the public cloud. In case of public cloud, it's always a greenfield is the option. You don't have any other option available. In case of private cloud edition, PCE, there you have the greenfield implementation as well as the brownfield. The private PCE is as good as like your any premise system. So you have the flexibility to customize, you have the flexibility to develop your own code, you have the flexibility to implicitly execute enhancements. Even the SAP don't recommend it, but the provision is open there. Okay, so there you go with the greenfield or brownfield or hybrid approach. Anything is workable. And same thing with the any premise or the on-premise system. So how to take the decision? Okay, so this is the important slide. Okay, so how you can take your decision of greenfield, brownfield, or the hybrid, which one is the best fit? There are a few questions we have prepared, okay, by referring SAP recommendations as well as with our own learnings. So these are few set of questions you need to answer. The first question is going to be, current business process of your system is going to sustain your long-term business strategy of your business promoters or the business vision. Like, is the system compatible or the sustainable for next 4 years, 5 years? In that case, if the business strategy is in a different way, which is not compatible with the ongoing system, then the best option is to go with the new implementation. If you feel that the system is not going to support you in a long run, then better to go with the new implementation. And the other one is, can you adapt standard content or will you retain past customization? That is nothing but you want to go fresh or you want to carry some of your old configurations and the suppose SD and MM module you want to carry as it is, or the PP module as it is, and everything is looking good. In that case, so then if you feel that it's not going to be helpful and you don't want to carry any past customization, then go for the new implementation. Else the greenfield approach, brownfield of the system conversion is the right option. And the another question is like, is this decision of S4HANA transformation is from the business or from the IT? Because there is a lot of difference between these two originating points. If the IT is thinking to convert the system to S4HANA, the possibility is like they want to make the system technically ready so that business can take advantage on top of it over the period of time. In case of business is pushing for S4HANA, that means they are seeing something advantage to the business from S4HANA in terms of simplification of their processes or the new functionality, etc. That's a different story. If it is an IT, the preferred approach is a conversion, because technically you want to leave the system to the S4HANA technology stack and made it available to the business, so that from there they can start exploring the new innovations on top of that. That means you are just making the platform for them to start off with the new innovations or the new things. So the other question is like, can you convert from ERP application to S4HANA in a single step? Okay, so as I said, you have a Unicode conversion might be required. If it's a non-Unicode system, you might be having a single stack versus dual stack. Those and the data archival and the data footprint is very huge. So those type of different scenarios we discussed so far in the earlier slides. If at all, if you feel that it's going to be very lengthy projects, you need to run 2 to 3 projects before converting to S4HANA, then probably you are investing a lot of money on those technical projects only than spending on innovations. So in that case, probably new implementation might be a better choice if you feel that a lot of things to be done before starting S4HANA project. Whereas if you feel that in a single step you are able to make it, or one more step, some small project of a month or a half month you need to do it, that's okay. You can do that project and start off with S4 conversion. Then system conversion might be a good choice. Do you require previous transactional data in the new system? That's a key requirement. If you really want the old transactional data, then conversion is the only choice. In the greenfield, you cannot load old transactional data or historical data. The greenfield only carry the balances and masters. That's all. And landscape consolidation, process formation is a key value driver. Suppose your business is expanded across multiple countries or the continents and also having multiple ERP system, and business is focusing on that. You want to consolidation of everything, and also you want to do the process re-innovations or the re-engineering. All this stuff is in the business, one of the key value driver for S4HANA transformation. In that case, new implementation is the best choice. And another thing is like, do you have high or low number of interfaces? This is a key decision point again. Suppose over the period of last 5 years or 10 years of your journey, or after GST, you might be seeing a lot of different interfaces or integrations are there, right? So if the number of interfaces are so high, maybe 10, 20, 30 different interfaces are there, integrations are there, hundreds of interfaces might be running with the EDI systems or some other systems. In those cases, the conversion might be a best choice compared to new implementation, because in the new implementation, you need to start working on all these interfaces again from the scratch. Even though you can refer the old system, but it's like you need to start fresh only by referring the knowledge or the observations from there. So then the conversion is the best choice. Can your company sustain a multi-year innovation plan with incremental innovations? This is like, what is your motive out of this S4 transformation or the digital transformation? You want to see the big change on the day one, or you want to go with the incremental changes? Like, first, it's like if you want to make the day one itself an impacting day for your business with a big change, everything in a single place, every transformation to be available to users, then new implementation might be a better choice. Even conversion has that option, but new implementation has better edge over that. But if you plan that, you want to go with a gradual manner, like, okay, this first I will go to the S4HANA technology stack, then I will go to the second step, I will go to the Fury activation, third step, I will activate some digital innovations, fourth step, I will activate something. This is the plan of next 6 months to 1 year or 2 years. If you want to go for the gradual innovations and with the multiple projects floating over the period of next 1 to 2 years, in that case, system conversion may be a good choice. Okay, so the technical migration versus functional migration. So this is nothing but, so far we discussed technical migration and functional, both mix in a mixed way. So I will explain what technical migration covers. Technical migration is nothing but you just lift your system from the old technology stack to the new technology stack. That means you are just moving the system to the new technology stack and running there in the good manner, stable manner, but without enabling some new features or anything. That is called a technical migration. That means your system technically on S4HANA with the latest version, but may not be all the new processes might not be activated, or the new modules might not be activated. You still might be depending on some other legacy systems or the old modules, and you are planning them to be implemented over the period of time. So it's nothing but your database will be switched to HANA, your operating system will be switched to Linux, and all programming code or the core code of SAP ECC will be migrated to S4HANA code, and the data structure, the table schemas will be migrated to S4HANA data model. Okay, and also you will implement your Fiori interfaces using SAP Fiori, and custom code adaptation is part of it, and can easily implementing using relevant tools. Okay, shorter timelines required in the technical migration. Whereas functional migration is nothing but technical migration plus the innovations, developments of a new or enhanced business processes. You can activate some new modules like TM is part of S4HANA core now, transportation module. You can activate some of the transportation module features. Okay, or you have some advanced modules available in the procurement side, central procurement probably there, or the central finance is there. You want to integrate with the cloud innovations of central finance or the central procurement with your ERP system, that can also be done. So those things you can activate, and you can migrate most of your G process to SAP standard. That can also be done as part of functional migration. And Fiori interfaces by adjusting or enhancing. Suppose you have some enhancements are there in your standard T codes like VA01 or VF01 or the VL01, all those won't be directly reflected in Fiori. Again, you need to use the Fiori extension framework and make them available, those enhancements to be redone in Fiori, so that you can plan it as part of functional migration. And detailed study and exploration is involved, because any new change we are making, we need to study better and map it well to the business requirements, and then plan the implementation of the change. So functional migration, technical plus function together, it's a longer timelines, whereas only technical will take shorter timelines. Okay, so the typical transition roadmap. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes more. Okay, so after that we'll switch to the Q&A session. So transition roadmap of S4HANA. Okay, so the transition roadmap involves 3 to 4 phases. Okay, that's called discover, prepare, explore, realize, and deploy, and run. Run is nothing but your final post go live. Okay, so I would like to emphasize more on the discover, considering most of our participants are from the ECC background, they're not yet into the S4HANA. So the discover phase is crucial for them, because you spend quality time on discover phase that will help you to plan a successful S4HANA migration project. Okay, so the discover phase, what all will be covered? Okay, one, the strategic planning, like what you are expecting from your S4HANA system. Suppose it's S4HANA is a digital transformation project. So what all the digital transformations are best out of S4HANA you want to use or enable for your business? Okay, so that the business will get best out of it. The strategic planning, like what all to be taken from S4HANA to be planned as part of this. And application value scoping, like your business process versus the application, that's the S4 versus whatever the functionalities available, whether they're fitting in that, not fitting, how exactly they're going to work. Are they going to work for your business as is, whatever this is happening now? So those scoping activities you will do here. And also third important thing is, like you need to go through a trial system. SAP has given just a click away trial systems in the cloud appliances of SAP. So from there, you can, it's called call. So in the call, you can log in and with your S user, and you can enable a trial systems on Azure or AWS or Google Cloud, and start feeling the S4HANA system, because it's ready to use S4HANA systems, like with the test data and all processes are activated, Fiori is activated. You want to explore some functionality, you can just log in there and see that. But the condition is that the infra cost is going to be charged to you, like the cloud infra cost, and the trial system is free from SAP side for 30 days, but the cloud guys are going to charge you for that. And you can see the cost also in the Cal portal. Okay, I will show you that if time permits at the end. So that's, I strongly recommend every customer to go through that, so that they can get the best out of S4HANA before starting the project itself. They can plan it better. So some of the key activities you should plan is like, you need to conduct workshops and surveys with your all departments, understand the digital transformation requirements, their pain areas and improvements required. Take a big sheet of your wish list of your departments, I can say. Take that and also perform a gap analysis. Suppose it's like you got your wish list, your user wish list, and you understand the gap requirements. Like you perform a fit gap analysis, or it's like between S4HANA and cloud innovations of S4HANA with your business requirements and objectives of S4HANA transition. So this is important thing. Most of the cases, people are not clear why they are going for S4HANA. That's the most important thing. The motive for S4HANA transition should be clear. Otherwise, you cannot reach the goal, because S4HANA has so many things you cannot activate, or you cannot achieve everything in a single day or in a single project. So you should be clear what you are going to get out of it, or what you are planning to get out of it. That would help you to plan a better S4HANA transition or the migration project. And also analyze your G code. That's what we already discussed. So that identify which is to be carried, which is not to be carried, which to be standard, which is to be moved to the standard SAP process, which to be discarded. All that stuff can be performed as part of this discover phase. And one trial system you activate and get the feel of S4HANA and you start exploring the S4HANA system. So, and also impact on integrations, third-party add-ons, and analytical solutions. You might be already using your analytical tools like Power BI, Zoho Analytics, or the Tableau, or maybe SAP S, and different tools might be in use in your ECC. So understand the impact of that, assess the impact, and third-party add-ons you are using, whether they're compatible, that you contact them and check the compatibility of their add-ons for this S4 project, or anything to be done before or after S4 migrations. And integrations also need to be evaluated. Okay. So based on all these inputs you collected, then you are in a good shape or good position to decide which approach best fits to you. Either it's a greenfield, brownfield, landscape, or hybrid approach, like mixed greenfield and brownfield together. Okay, and then once you are ready with that approach, then start your homework on the analysis of your readiness of your S4 systems or ECC system in terms of data quality, in terms of the simplification of the impacts, that readiness checks you can perform. And after that, you can perform the sizing requirements of your hardware and involve your account manager and your partner, migration partner, to assess the right sizing of infrastructure. Because you need to, this is important thing I'm stressing again and again. Sizing is a key point here, because you are going to spend a hell lot of money for hardware here, because the hardware cost of ECC versus S4HANA is almost, I can say that 7 to 8 fold. Okay, because your ECC might run on 32 or 64 GB RAM, whereas HANA won't run. Minimum 256 GB RAM you need to plan, and minimum number of CPU should also be planned like that. So considering the resource intensive or the heavy infrastructure intensive, so you need to plan your sizing well. If it is on a hyperscaler or the rise with SAP, so you need to plan it better, and gradually you can rise your resource increments than day one planning the heavy infrastructure. The right partner can suggest the right sizing there. And also the core team should be planned well. So because they require some trainings also. So you need to prepare for that, your core team, and what are the trainings required to them. Get them prepared to start the S4HANA project and participate in that. And then with the help of your partner, migration partner, start your planner and kickstart the project. This is how it will go. And some of the key transition challenges. Okay. So it's like, I stressed this point in earlier slides also, you should be clear on what you are expecting from your migration or the transformation project. So most of the cases, there is a lack of clear business case. They just want to go to S4HANA, that's a new system, but they're not clear what they are going to get out of it or what they are going to exploit from there. So if there is a lack of clear business case, this will result in a lot of disappointment from your users and management and different departments, right? So we invested money, but not getting the results. So the clear business case should be clear. Then you stop the right transition path, and then start off with the right motive or the goal. The dilemma on which approach, and you have multiple separate systems, whether to merge, not to merge, how to make it. So, and also there might be like already 2027 is the deadline, and after the 2 years is the extended deadline till 2029 is there. Extension support is there from SAP. What is the need to go for S4HANA now? That is the mindset. That's like, let's wait till the last date. That may not be a good thought process, because if you think like that, you might be lacking behind with your competitors in terms of technology. They might be doing a good sale and the good business growth compared to you because of they are having the advanced technology in their hand. So complexity of legacy systems that also often create a lot of problems. And infrastructure and migration and innovations, like the budget might be a big constraint. So budget approvals and all, or you plan some limited budget and want to have a bigger innovations, that might also create some problems. Core team bandwidth, that's important thing. It's like everyone should give a quality time, then only the result will come. Either it's your team or a partner team. So everyone should participate in a well manner, then only you'll get the result. Data quality issues, suppose your asset data is not having a good quality, or your finance data is not up to the mark, then definitely if it's a system conversion scenario, then there is a chance that the conversion may fail in between, or maybe dev and quality are successful, but production may fail as well. So lack of business scenario or test cases document, in most of the cases, this is the big problem, because the system is evolved over the period of 10 years or 15 years or 5 years. So nothing is documented, or you don't have a business use cases or the test cases. So considering that, so the testing would become a big bottleneck. Suppose you converted your system to S4HANA, or in case of Brownfield approach. In case of Greenfield, again, you need to start your documentation or test cases fresh, but that's okay. But in case of Brownfield, this is going to be a challenge. If they are documented, then we can quickly test the system and certify. Volume of custom code also impact your project timelines. Highly enhanced standard T codes and theory compatibility issues that can arise. So that's all from my side. Okay, so our team will initiate a poll. Okay, so you can participate in the poll in parallel, along with you can post your questions in Q&A. So I thought if I can wind up 5 to 10 minutes before, but unfortunately it took a little more time. But I will try to address as many as possible as questions from your side. Okay, please feel free to participate. Come up with your questions in the Q&A section of webinar tool.
Yeah, Nalini, it was good going till today now. So Nalini, we have few questions actually. So the question is, how much time frame from ECC to S4HANA migration at cloud to cloud?
Yeah, it's like in case of it's a cloud to cloud, I can say that the downtime can be optimized. If it is the same cloud environment, it's much better. Okay. So, but overall, the project timeline was there is no much difference. Okay. Why I'm saying that? In case of on-prem to cloud, the problem is the bandwidth. Suppose I have, because whatever the data is exported from the source system, that is called some sort of a zip files, or the XML files will be generated by the DMO tool. That will come as like 200 GB, 300 GB, or depends on your database size. Okay, all those data to be copied to the cloud before starting the S4 conversion activity. So there we are going to lose this entire process happens during the downtime. So that is going to increase the downtime. Okay, because your bandwidth is 10 Mbps or 5 Mbps. In some cases, we saw the 2 Mbps also. But that is definitely going to be a killer for in terms of planning your downtime. We strongly recommend, if the good bandwidth is there, like maybe at least 200 Mbps to 500 Mbps or 1 Gbps bandwidth is there, then definitely you don't see much difference between cloud to cloud versus on-prem to cloud. Okay. So other than that, remaining process remains same in terms of technology activities that we are going to perform.
So we have another question. So ECC have ABAP stack only. It is required Java stack while migration time to S4HANA?
Not required. So the dual stack is not compatible for S4HANA, so that should be split. So you're already on single stack, that is the ABAP stack, so that's perfectly fine to start with S4 conversion. But if you are having ABAP plus Java together, then only you need to split it to ABAP and Java separated and start only with ABAP. I answered the query.
We have another question only. How does a greenfield implementation impact existing process and data? And how is data migration handled?
It's like in case of Greenfield, there is no data migration at all. Point number one. Okay. So point number two, existing process impact. It's like it depends on how you are using your SAP system. Suppose you are not using as per standard practices and the best practices of your industry or the domain. In that case, the Greenfield we strongly recommend, or the SAP strongly recommends that go with the standardization process than a customized process. So considering that you activate the standardized process and ask your business to change the process as per the standard of SAP, then there you can see some resistance or a friction. But if the business is open or the management is open to convince them to change their business processes, then that would be good. Otherwise, technically, I don't say that there is no link between old system versus new system. But if you want to implement the same old process and new system, then Greenfield may not make any sense. Okay, so if you want to adopt the SAP best practices, the Greenfield is the right choice. And I think you asked the third part of your question. I forgot that, Mahesh. Can you please come again? That has three parts in your query. Can you please read the question again?
How does the Greenfield implementation impact existing process and data? And how is data migration handled?
Yeah, right. So 2 points I answered. And how will it impact the data means there is no data migration. I said clearly, transaction data won't be carried to the Greenfield system. You carry only your masters. That means you need to write your Z programs in your old system and download the data, or there are some sort of RFC connectivity options also available, but we recommend that you prepare the data in the Excel templates. Okay, download it and prepare the data in the right manner with the changes or the required, or the remove all inactive data from the masters, and start fresh with the new codes or the existing codes or the number series is whatever required, and load it to the Greenfield system, and just load the balances of your material or the vendor, customer, or the GL accounts, or whatever the balances are required to be loaded to the system. You start loading those balances, and your inventory stock also you load to the system, and from there the system will start functioning. So that means historical data won't be carried to the Greenfield system.
There's another question only. How does SAP provide support and tools to facilitate both Greenfield and Brownfield implementations?
It's like in case of Greenfield, there is no need of any tool. Just SAP installer is required. In case of Rise with SAP, even that install is not required. Just once your systems are provisioned, SAP is going to default enable the activated system directly. As for now, which version we are targeting, that particular version, and the system will be activated by SAP. After that, your partner need to start working on that in terms of digital discovery assessments or the process mappings, and those workshops to be conducted. And after that, once those functionalities everything are mapped in the system, they will be activated automatically from the it's like SAP Me tool. That's like a new tool from SAP. It's like they replaced the Launchpad with the Me. So from there they can start enabling the modules. And after that, the partner can log into SAP system using GUI or the Fiori Launchpad, and they can or the from the configuration cockpit or from SPRO, they can make the configurations and all. And the customizations required, they can do the customizations, and they can map that back to your Signavio tool or the business process discovery tool for the business process analysis in terms of the best practices getting adopted or not. And also you can prepare the test cases from there also in case of Greenfield. In case of system conversion, SAP is providing a tool called DMO tool. That is some SAP Upgrade Manager tool that itself has the DMO tool embedded in it. So using that SAP DMO tool, the migrations can take place. System conversions of the Brownfield can take place.
Okay. We have another question. If I go with a cloud for SAP HANA, again we require DR system. Is it possible?
Yes. So in case of Rise with SAP contract, DR is not enabled by default in that Rise with SAP first line item. That will come as an add-on. Okay. So the requirement of DR is purely depending on your policies, but definitely considering the system is getting maintained by SAP and all, without DR also you can see it's like a good results. Okay. Are the minimal downtime or no downtime is possible, considering SAP is supporting or managing the system and the change control is with SAP. But still, in case of any damage happens at the application level, or even there is a possibility that SAP may also fail sometimes. We cannot guarantee anyone, right? So considering the worst case, if the business policy says that business continuity policy saying that you need to have a DR, then you can plan a DR in cloud also. But in case of public cloud, it's not required because that will be taken care by SAP. It's part of the SAP's contract. Whereas in case of private cloud, you need to plan a separate DR system, and with the proper data center and planning, you can take it as an additional cost line item from the subscription contract of private PCE edition of the private cloud edition of S4HANA.
Okay. We have another question. What role does system integration play in both greenfield and brownfield in projects, and how it is managed effectively, sir?
Can you please come again with your query, Mahesh? I missed something in between.
What role does system integration play in both greenfield and brownfield projects, and how is it managed effectively?
Okay, so my strong recommendation, or the as per Ingersoll's experience in the last 4 years of S4 migrations, okay, the system integrations, okay, it's like, if I understand the question correctly, this question is more towards the integrations with your S4 system or the ECC system with the third party or the other SAP systems. If it is on the same line, then my recommendation is that the integration scrutinization should be started from the day one or during the discovery phase itself, and involve all the stakeholders, and upfront notifications to be given. And if any commercials involved, plan the contracts for that, or the purchase or the issue orders for that, and make everyone involved from the day one of the project, so that we cannot see any last minute surprises. In some projects, we saw that some systems are not explored at the beginning and identified, or mentioned at the end of the project, and at that time the partner is not available and all, it delayed the project sometimes. Okay, so better, we recommend that it's better to involve all the stakeholders, like all the system owners, to be part of this, to as from the discovery phase itself, or at least from the prepare phase. Either it's in the greenfield or brownfield, in both the cases it's applicable. Okay, but whereas if it is related to system integrator, that is nothing but migration partner, if the question is towards that, then definitely the project success is with the migration, that's a migration partner, because the migration partner don't have experience, or they don't have any prior experience of S4 conversions or the S4 landscape, or the don't have a right team, definitely it's going to create or impact to your migration project, whether it's a greenfield or the conversion, both the cases.
Okay. There's another question. If I migrate S4 HANA, what about our existing SAP ECC6 user licenses?
Okay, so it's like in case of both greenfield and brownfield, both the cases, the licenses will be converted to the S4HANA Rise with SAP licenses whenever you take the go live. So the go live, it's like till the go live of S4HANA, the licenses will be as per ECC licensing terms. It's like both the user licenses and your third-party application DBs like Oracle and all those licenses will continue till there. And after that, the licenses, if you are paid any AMCs, they will be prorated and transferred to the S4 licenses. Yeah, the conversion will take place. That flexibility is there. And S4HANA user licenses mechanism is different. It's called a FUE, full usage. It's like a full usage equivalents. Okay, so you need to transform all your ECC users, like worker user, professional user, project user, retail user, all those users to be converted to the FUE users, which has only 3 categories of user types in that, like advanced user, core user, self-service user. So within that category, you need to do plan before that, so that before the go live. So once that's done, or it's not even before the go live, it's before the contract signing itself. Like day one itself, day one with the contract signing of SAP itself, you need to be finalized with your number of FUE requirements and your infra requirements. Along with that, during the go live, you will plan your user onboarding and all, everything like that with the new licensing structure.
Is there any cost? What is the cost for migrating the licenses?
It's like there is specific cost. It's not like it's like a scale based cost from SAP. It's a varies from customer to customer. So the right person to address that one is like SAP only. After Rise with SAP, there is a lot of differences in the pricing customer to customer. So better. It's not only customer to customer. It involves various factors, because they can't call it as a user specific licensing cost. They bundle everything as a subscription, right? Number of FUEs and your infrastructure and your other add-ons, everything they will bundle and they will make it as a single line item, and the expense per monthly or quarterly they will announce, or the 3 years contract they will make it. If you make 5 years contract, the cost may be different. If you make 3 years contract, the cost may be different. So various parameters will be involved in this one, and accordingly they will size the subscription. So it's hard to say that apple to apple conversion of ECC to S4HANA.
So these are the question as of now, only.
Great.
2 minutes.
Okay, that's great. We're already, it's like we already took 9 minutes more compared to the planned time. So I would like to thank everyone for your time in attending this webinar, and hope you enjoyed the session and you got a good takeaways from this particular webinar. And we have upcoming webinars as part of our Rise with SAP session or the series. It's like that's the next Wednesday. Every Wednesday we are having a webinars, but next Wednesday is going to be more on how you size your infrastructure and how you plan that. And next to next, that the 9th of August, we are having a webinar on digital access license awareness. So that's all from my side. Okay, so thank you all once again and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nalini. Thank you all.